welcome to a Year 3-4 edition of Teach Time Maths. So this week we're going to be looking all about the Romans. And so the Romans had their own math system. They called it numerals, or we now call it Roman numerals. So instead of using numbers, they used letters to represent how they counted. So here I have how the Romans would have written the year that we're in, so 2020. They would have written it MMXX. Now, it can be a bit foreign. You might not be able to realise if you just looked at a Roman numeral what on earth it's trying to say. If you have a look at some of the BBC television shows, once they've got all through the credits, they have the year still written in Roman numerals at the very bottom. But in our number system, we use units, which are here, tens, which come next, hundreds, which are there, and thousands, which are here. But instead of writing double numbers, so for 2, we don't just write 2 ones. For 3, we don't just write 3 ones, and so on and so forth. But the Romans do. So, these are the way that we do our place value. But here's the Romans. Now they have something called units, half tens, tens, half hundreds, hundreds, half thousands, and thousands. So they have almost twice as many numbers, well, letters, to represent their numbers. Now, they write their units, hundreds, tens, half hundreds, and all these with a letter. So their units, they write with the letter I. Their half tens, so if you know what half of 10 is, cut 10 in half, you'll know that it's 5. So I'll write the little 5 down here so you know. So they write the number 5 as V. Their tens, so we all know that's the number 10. Their tens, they write as an X. Half of 100, if anyone knows that, see if you can think of it, is 50. Good job if you said it. Half of 100 is 50, so their half hundred, they write as L, so 50 is L. Their 100 is C. Their half of 1,000, wonder if anyone knows what half of 1,000 is. If you said 500, fantastic. Their half of 1,000 is D. And finally, their 1,000 is M. Now, unlike changing the letter every time, so we change our number each time. As I said, we don't just do 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. We change the number. But they can't change these letters. They can't all of a sudden go, oh, well, I need 2,000, so it's going to be the letter Q. What they do is they double their number. They keep adding the letter on to get the number. So that's why in 2,000 there are 2 M's. If you have a look here, M is 1,000. So they need 2 of those thousands. So they're going to put 2 M's. Now instead of leaving a gap, we leave a gap that says we don't have any hundreds. Well, they know that their letter for 100s is C. So if they don't have any hundreds, they just don't put the letter C in there. And instead they just move on to the next letter. So their next letter is X, but they've got 2 of them. So we know that X is 10. So that must mean 2 times 10 is 20. So we've got 2,020. So that's how the Romans write their years. But the way that they count can be a little bit more confusing. If you've ever seen the way that kings and queens are written, at the moment we have Elizabeth II on our throne. Now if you write down Elizabeth II, you would put this after her name. In Tudor times we had a man called Henry VIII, and they wrote his name with that afterwards. Now that looks a little bit more confusing than this. Well, here at the side, I've got some Roman numerals. Now, if you can believe it or not, these are actually counting up one by one. So let's start here. So we know that I is 1. So we'll put that there. Now remember what I said, they add one more to their number each time to make it go up. So if I is 1, 2 of them are going to be 2. And if I've got one more, it's going to be 3. Now, this is when it gets a little bit complicated. Just before they get to 5, they put a 1 and the 5 symbol. That's because it's almost like they're saying it's 1, it's 5, take away 1. So they're looking at this, the 5 number, and they're taking away the 1 because the 1 comes first. 1 less than 5. And we all know that 1 less than 5 on a number line is 4. Then we come to 5. All know 5 is V. Then, when you get to 6, it's the 5 symbol, but it's 1 more than 5. If we have a look here at the number 4, the 1 came before it, so it's 1 less than 5. It came before it, so it's less than 5. But now we've got 1 more than 5, so we know that that's 6. Now, the Roman numerals, they keep going like this. So now they've got 5, but they're adding 5 add 1, and then you add another 1 to get 7. And then so this one, 5 add 3 ones is going to be 8. And then with the number 9, it's a bit like with the number 4. Have a look, the Romans have their own letter for the number 10. So for 9, it's 1 less than 10, isn't it? So we put our 1 and our X. That's because 9 is 1 less, so it comes before 1 less than 10. So that's 9. And then we put our X for 10. So that's the Roman numerals up to 10. So we can already write them in over here. So we've got 1 is I. See if you can write them alongside with me at home. So 2 is I. You can write them a bit like that, so do all the lines first and then do the line at the top and the bottom. It can make it a bit quicker, or you can just do the lines for each one. 3, I do 3 lines and then cross them off at the top and the bottom. 4, now I wonder if you can remember the rule about 4. So it's 1 less than 5. Tell you what, I'll write the Roman numerals down at the bottom for you. So we've got I, V and X. Those are the only ones we're really going to worry about at the moment. Although I'll put L for 50 just in case. So we've got, and then when we get to 5, we've gone up to V. And then we've got 6, so it's 1 more than 5, remember. And then we've got 7, so that one's 2 more than 5. 8 is 3 more than 5. And remember, because 10 has its own special letter, we need to put a 1 before the 10. Because 9 is 1 less than 10. And then 10 at the bottom. So now, Roman numerals, they keep going. Just like us, they can keep counting in Roman numerals, but theirs get a little bit longer. So these are our numbers up to 40. I'm going to help you. We're going to go through 11 to 20. And then what I'm going to get you to do is try 21 to 40 at home, and then I'll explain it to you. But let's do 11 to 20 first. So we've got a number in the tens column, haven't we? For all of these numbers, we've got something in the tens column. So that means that they're all going to start with x. Okay? If there is something in your tens column, you know that they're going to start with at least one x. So I can even start off all of my numbers. Okay, I'll just do the first few so you can see. So, I've got my x done, perfect. How many units have I got here for 11? So I've got 1 unit. So that means I only need 1 more to add on. So I do that and cross them off. Now for the number 2, I just add 2 on my ones. Have a look at the numbers next to it. All that's changed at the moment is I've got an x in front of it. Let's see if it works for number 3. So I've got my 10, and so I just need to add 3 more to make 13. See? So I can already guess that I've got my 10 already, so all I need to add is this for number 4. I need to add my IV to make 14. Okay, let's do the 10s again, just to make it a little bit quicker. I'll leave that one for last. So, my 15, I've already got my X, so I just need my V. And you can see, I'm just going along, so I've got my X, I just need to add VI for 16. I'm just going along and adding on the numbers from before, because that's all it is really. In Roman numerals, they don't change anything as they go up. It's still, if it ends in 8, we still need to add that number 8. If it ends in 5, we still need to add the number 5 to the end. So number 19, I add IX. So this time, instead of IX, it's XIX. And then when we get to 20, well, we've got 2 of them in the tens column. Remember what I said? That's 1 10. So if I need 2 10s, I just write 2 of them. Okay? So, see if you can have a go at these ones. So, have a look at the tens column. This time, we don't have 1 10. How many 10s have we got? Have a look at the number that came just before it. And then remember, your units, you've pretty much got them already. So see if you can have a go at the numbers 21 to 40 down here. Remember with 40, the number 4 over here, it was 1 less than 5. So I wonder what's 10 less than 50 here. Don't worry if you get stuck on 40, you can just leave it. Okay, so have a go at 21 to 40. Off you go. So let's have a look through these together. So I know that I've got 2 10s here, so I need to put 2 of my x's. I can check because 20 was XX. And then all I need is the Roman numeral for 1, which is just I. Okay, I get my 2 10s again for 20, and I need 2. Well, I know that that's II. Okay, I'm going to go through these quite quickly, so tick them off if you've got them. So then 20, I need my 20 again, and then 3, we all know is just 3 of the I's. Now remember, so we've got 20, 4 is slightly different, so I can zoom along and have a look at my 4. It's IV, because it's 1 less than 5, so the I comes first. I put my 20 again, and then I've got 5. Well, we know that's the V because it started up here. 20 again. I'm just going to do all of my 20s quickly, like I did with my 10s. Okay, 26. So this time it's 5, but it's 1 more than 5. So the 1 comes next. 7, VII. Because remember, it's 5 add 2. 8 is 5 add 3. 9, oh, now I need to double check. So 9 is 1 less than 10, so it's IX. And then 30, well, I've got 3 10s in my 10 column now, so I just add another X and make sure I've got 1, 2, 3. Perfect. So now, I think you can all probably guess what these other numbers should be. Apart from 40, I'll go through that in a second. If you have a look at what's happened each time, I've kept my units the same. All I've done is I've just added more 10s to the 10 column. So 30 is going to be the same, but this time I'm just going to have 3 x's because there's 3 10s. Oh. Now if you can imagine in Roman times trying to do all of your maths sentences really quickly, but having to write out all of these numbers and letters, it would be pretty tricky and you'd have to write really quickly. So let's see if the pattern's the same. I'm just adding a 1 because it's 31. 32, I'm just adding 2 i's. 33, just adding 3 i's. Remember with the 4, it's 1 less than 5, so it's IV. 5, we add our V for our 5. 36, well it's 1 more than 5, so it's VI. 7 is VII. 8, VIII. And 9, remember it's 1 less than 10, so it's IX. Now 40 is a little bit different. 40 is 10 less than 50. Just like 5 is 1 less than, just like 4 rather, is 1 less than 5, 40 is 10 less than 50. So when we write 4, we do IV. When we write 40, we take the 10, and it goes first. And then L, remember, is 50. So it goes there. And that's because 40 is 10 less than 50. Don't worry if you didn't get that one. That is more of a year 5-6 level, so I'd be really impressed if you got that one already. So that was just in there to show you how the numbers keep changing. So, if you can imagine living in Roman times, not only have you got to do a math sentence, so you might have to do 9 take away 7. So not only have you got to try and work out what each letter means, but then you've also got to try and do the math sentence. So be thankful we changed when the Indians invented the new method. So this is your brief introduction into Roman numerals. We might do a little bit more on this week. Depends if we're going to do the Roman topic for 2 weeks or just 1 week. So I hope you enjoyed it. There is a maths worksheet on the Facebook page for you, so have a go at that one. Have as much fun as you can. I don't think the forecast is very good for next week, so it might call for a few Roman days inside. So have lots of fun, and I hope you've enjoyed our introduction to the Romans.